Welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Light, a graduate student at the American College of Education. This presentation will discuss the practice and purpose of authentic assessment. As educators and instructional designers, it is our responsibility to ensure our assessments are being used for a meaningful purpose. By the end of this section, the audience should be able to examine assessments to ensure high-quality student learning. In order to do that effectively, we should be able to analyze assessment tools, measures, and criteria, determine the instructional impacts of assessments, and develop a comprehensive assessment system. In order to make sure we achieve our objectives, taking a front-loaded approach would be beneficial. To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of our destination. It means to know where you're going so that you can better understand where you are now, so that the steps you take are always in the right direction. If we know where we're going and what we want the students to achieve, we can build assignments and assessments to get us there. Throughout this presentation, ask yourself, are our current approaches to assessment improving student learning? There is a purpose to analyzing our assessments. 1F and 3D of Danielson's framework addresses the importance of authentic assessment. This is to improve not only our teaching, but also our students' learning. It was recommended by the state of New Jersey that we look at our assessments to determine how effective they are and if they are improving student learning. It was recommended that we determine which tests and assessments are being administered to students. We should determine the minimum testing necessary to serve as diagnostic, instructional, and accountability purposes. We should ensure every test and assessment is of high quality. We should ensure that every test and assessment is providing the information needed for a specific school and school district purposes. And lastly, we should ensure that every test and assessment is supported by structures and routines so assessment results are effectively used to improve our student learning. The components of a comprehensive assessment system consist of formative assessment, end-of-unit assessment, interim assessment distributed by the district, and state assessments. Formative assessments are given on a daily basis to guide and adjust instruction. These assessment results can be accessed and utilized by students, teachers, and professional learning communities. End-of-unit assessments occur at the end of a unit to monitor student progress and assess growth. These assessment results can be accessed and utilized by students, teachers, professional learning communities, and parents. Interim assessments occur periodically to diagnose student levels and evaluate effectiveness of instructional resources. These assessments can be accessed and utilized by students, teachers, professional learning communities, parents, and the school district. State assessments occur annually and therefore school improvement. These assessment results can be accessed and utilized by state, federal, district, school, teachers, professional learning communities, students, and parents. The data collected from these assessments are beneficial to measure effectiveness of assessment for learning and of learning. A comprehensive assessment system includes pre, formative, and summative assessments. Each have a specific purpose and provide educators with information regarding student progress and instruction. Pre-assessments are used generally as the first formative assessment. They determine which students have or have not achieved mastery of specific prerequisite and requisite student learning objectives. They are used to plan appropriate learning activities and instructional strategies for differentiation. Formative assessments are used throughout the lesson. They help to determine whether students are moving towards mastery of the learning. They are used to share feedback with students and adjust instructional decisions. Summative assessments are used at the end of a unit or module. They help determine a grade for the student, and they are used to measure student progress, rate student performance, and evaluate the educational process. Educators may be familiar with the different types of assessment, but using these assessments to improve student learning is of high priority. Black, Williams, and Stiggins all support using instruction to improve student learning. Williams states that assessment is the bridge between teaching and learning. Black and Williams reported that improved formative assessments help lower achievers more than other students, and so reduces the range of achievement while raising achievement overall. Stiggin says, based on these findings, if assessment for learning became standard practice in classrooms of low-achieving, low socioeconomic status students, the achievement gaps that trouble us so deeply would be erased. Our goal as educators should be to eliminate or lessen the achievement gap, and we can do that by improving and expanding the use of formative assessments. Formative assessments and understanding the difference between assessments for learning and assessments of learning are crucial and critical to our knowledge of assessments. We must not only become proficient in knowledge of assessment design, but how to use the information to make well-informed instructional decisions. So how can we improve student learning? Educators will increase the accuracy of classroom assessments, provide students with frequent informative feedback, involve students deeply in the classroom assessment, keep accurate records, and communicate often. In the classroom, we need to have a balanced assessment system. Assessments for learning ask us to determine how we can use the assessment process and results to keep students learning more. This is a supportive for learning. Assessments of learning measure how much the students have learned of a particular point in time. This certifies and ensures that students have learned. There needs to be a balance of assessment to guide students to reach their maximum potential. As educators, we should be reevaluating our assessment techniques and reflecting on our use of assessment data because it is critical to student achievement. Completing an assessment audit to determine if your assessments are improving student learning can prove beneficial. The assessment audit will determine which assessments are used as assessments for learning and which assessments are used of learning. They will also measure the assessments against the criteria listed on the assessment audit worksheet. Having a discussion whether assessments need to be modified, discontinued, or will continue to be used will be very beneficial. Here we have the assessment audit worksheet. On this worksheet, you can fill out the name of the assessment, the time of year the assessment is given or how often it is given, who takes the given assessment, what the assessment measures, what type of assessment it is, if the assessment is aligned with standards, if it covers various depths of knowledge, what the results tell us, if it is connected to the current curriculum, how the staff uses the results, how the students use the results, and if the information is tested again. And then finally, based on the responses to the previous questions, you're able to determine if the assessment should be kept, modified, or discontinued. Once your assessments have been evaluated, you'll be able to determine if your current approaches to assessment are improving student learning, and if they aren't, you can determine how they can be improved. This may seem like an overwhelming task, but the expert in anything was once a beginner. Good luck examining assessments to ensure high-quality learning for your students.